there's been a pretty major update to the Haya Toys website, which gives us a better idea of when to expect their upcoming Godzilla and MonsterVerse products. There are other products too, but if you're watching this video, those are probably the two that you care about the most. Now, the past couple live streams I've done, one of the things that I mentioned is how earlier this year, Haya Toys put out an update saying, hey, this is when you can expect our G91 Hokkaido figure, our Ghidorah 91 figure, our Shimo figure, our Godzilla Evolved figure, and our Heatray 91 Hokkaido figure. And it was like a rough time schedule, but, you know, it changed a little bit, but it was like, oh, that's really cool. They gave us the updates, you know, update timelines for 5 of their figures. That's great. And then they never did it again. they did it once and then they were like, who knows, right? So if you make your way over to the Haya website, you may notice that on the top of the page in the menu, there is a new tab right over here. Pre-order schedule. And if you go over to that tab, you can see that yesterday they uploaded this page, and they've I guess updated it yesterday, which features the official release period. Let's say they say date, but it's really official release period of all their outstanding Haya products. Now, if I'm going to complain about something about this page, it's not organized particularly well. The stuff that has been announced most recently is up at the top, but if you're looking for stuff that's been announced way back when, then that's closer to the bottom. But obviously, this is really great. It's nice that they have this page here, and I think even at the bottom they say warm reminder. Warm reminder is basically like, hey, stop fucking emailing us. If the release schedule is delayed, we'll update it to the table. So hopefully this is something that they're able to keep updated. You know, Super 7 has something similar like this. I think that this is fantastic. Tamashii Nations hasn't really needed it because all their stuff releases on time, but that's a different issue. So I've trudged my way through all of this information, and I have distilled down the updated release schedules for the 18 outstanding figures. Okay, 18's a lot. So we're going to make our way through it. Now, unfortunately, the first 5 have been postponed a full year beyond their initial release window. So let's start here. Godzilla 2001, GMK himself. As you'll see here, the initial release period was 2025 Q2. And if you're looking at the updated calendar, that release is now Q2 2026, a full year beyond its initial release window. Now, I don't know what's taken them so long. I feel like there's been some updates to the head sculpt / jaw that people have pointed out in recent photos. There was also the information that Haya has apparently sent Beast of the East collectibles saying, hey, you're going to get this stuff in December. But Haya themselves have now clarified on their website, no, this guy's coming out Q2 2026. Big bummer. But this is the suit from my favorite Godzilla movie. I'm willing to wait a little bit longer to get this guy. Next up, G99. That's right. With the Monster Arts release out now of Godzilla, well, Godzilla 2000 technically, Godzilla 99 is the next big thing that people are waiting for, and also coming Q2 2026, a full year beyond its initial release period. This is another one where I'm not really sure if there have been changes to the sculpt. Yeah, I'm kind of puzzled as to why this one is taking so long. But the last time we saw colored photos of this one and the Heatray version, they look fantastic. I'm getting ahead of myself with the Heatray version. We will get there. MG93. Now, MG93, MechaGodzilla, we knew this one was going to take longer. This was initially due Q3 of this year. The updated calendar says Q3 2026. We kind of expected that because they went back to the drawing board on this one and then the next Godzilla figure that we'll be talking about. And now we have the official release date, or I guess release period of 2025 Q3, a full year. This is another one that Haya apparently told Beast of the East was going to be coming by January. Clearly, that is not the case. So, whoever is working on their marketing stuff, you gotta talk to your your retail or business part. Godzilla 2002. Oh my god, this is the menu. Godzilla 2002, another one. They were very open about. They're like, yeah, we're gonna go back to the drawing board. Initially due Q3 of this year. Official calendar says Q3 2026, a full year. Now, this is one, I think it's even gotten a 3.0 release that they went back and they fine-tuned the sculpt even more, which is great. You know, I find the idea that Super 7s might release before this, like, extremely funny, even though they're obviously very different products. It just speaks to how long this one's been in the oven. I think that was one of the big comments when this one was revealed on Instagram. It's like people were like, this should go in the oven a little bit longer. And oh boy, is it. There's going to be a full, I think, almost 2 years since it was initially revealed that it will be coming out. Next up, this is one that I don't think too many people have been talking about, but the people that have been talking about it have been really excited for. Exquisite Basic Plus Godzilla 2021 Heatray version with all the light up features. This one I am actually excited for. I really like their G21 sculpt. And so this one having that light up feature I think is really, really cool. And it having those updated arm cuts that we first saw with G14 are really exciting to me. Now this one initially due 2025 Q3 has been pushed to Q3 2026. So again, a full year beyond its initial release schedule. So, yeah, this is one, like I said, not too many people have been talking about it, but the ones that have been talking about it have been really excited. And Haya themselves, or at least, you know, talking to Larry at San Diego Comic-Con, like, he really wants good things for this line. So it could be that they really want to make sure this one is done properly so that people like it and people are interested in future versions or future entries into this line. So, yeah, looks like we're going to have to wait another, oh gosh, 9 months-ish. For this guy. Now that does mark the end of like the super major delays. From here on out, there are a couple more big ones, but not nearly as big as a full year. So Heatray Godzilla 2014. This guy was due this quarter, 2025 Q4. He's recently popped up at the Singapore Comic-Con. I think that is the only time he's actually appeared at a convention after his initial solicitation. This one was always funny to me because there are very obviously two different heads in play here. Like this looks like a G14 head and this looks like the G2021 head. So hopefully that gets sorted. But anyway, this guy is now due Q1 2026. So he's only been delayed about 3 months. All things considered, not too bad. Though him coming a full year after the non-Heatray version is still quite interesting to me. It seems like you would just need a new head and then you're fine, but doesn't appear to be the case. Next up is Ghidorah 2019 2.0. This guy was initially due this quarter as well, Q4 2025, and he's going to be delayed into Q1 2026. So again, just another 3 months. Not too bad. There's obviously a lot more engineering going on in the next. I don't know if I say more engineering, but definitely new engineering. Next can be quite complicated. Don't have to wait too much longer for this guy. Next up, Heatray G99. So this guy was initially due next quarter, 2026 Q1. Now, obviously, he can't come out before the standard version, but this one has been delayed. Not even just like a few quarters, but all the way to Q4 2026. So this one is slated to launch 2 quarters after the initial version. Again, I'm not really sure why, because once the base sculpt is done, you know, it'll have the alternate hands. This beam sculpt already exists, so I'm not sure why this one's going to take a full 2 quarters. It does lead me to believe, or it does lead to reinforcing something that I've always believed, that Haya is using government subsidized factories and they just have very little influence over when they're able to get manufacturing time. I'm sure that they would love to get this one out the door sooner, but it does seem like for now, Q4 2026, a full year from now is when we can expect the Heatray version, and which is a bummer because I'm looking forward to this one. Battle Damage Ghidorah 91. This one was initially due next quarter, 2026 Q1, but it has been pushed 1 quarter out, so Q2 2026. So that's, what is that, April, May, or June? April, May, or June of 2026, we can expect this one. It does have some new pieces and then some, you know, interchangeable accessories, but for the most part, yeah, it's a cool looking figure. I love the wash. It looks like he's been, you know, through some through some stuff. Yeah, this one has not been affected too gravely. Heatray GMK. Heatray GMK is another one initially due Q1 2026, and he has been pushed out under the new pre-order schedule to Q2 2026. Actually, do I have that right? I'm just double checking. Yes, actually, the new calendar does say he's going to come out Q2 2026, which means he'll come out around the same time as the normal version, which makes me wonder, why does G99 have 2 quarters between the original and the Heatray version? Again, this is one I'm really looking forward to because it's from my favorite movie, and won't be too much longer before we get 2 of them back to back. This one is very interesting to me. Okay, so Heatray Godzilla Evolved was initially due next quarter. You can see 2026 Q1. He has been pushed out to Q4 2026. So he's been pushed out 3 quarters. Now, when this one first was revealed, there was a lot of hubbub around, is this going to be a completely new sculpt, or the proportions going to be refined? And when I asked at San Diego Comic-Con earlier this year, I didn't really get a good answer for it. They said, this one's in progress. There will be updates as necessary. Now, from people I've spoken to, I think Haya is quite aware that the height was an issue for Godzilla Evolved. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking the extra time to go and refine some of those proportions and do some brand new tooling where they can. Now, I don't know if this is a case where you can update some of the tooling and not all of the tooling, right? Like if all of a sudden his legs are longer than his body, like that's going to look kind of strange. So perhaps this is going to be a case where everything is slightly larger to better represent like a scale for Godzilla Evolved. But it is interesting to me that he's going to be pushed out 3 quarters into 2026 when you have a new head sculpt and then a new Heatray effect. That's all you really need for this one. So this one is a really interesting turn of events to me. I do hope that they're going back and they're updating the scale for this one. He already looks posed to be like the definitive Godzilla Evolved figure. And if they can fix some of the proportions, I think that this is going to be one of the best figures of 2026. Heatray Godzilla 2002, the one that's infamous for not having any pictures of him using the actual beam. Initially due 2026 quarter 2. This one has been pushed out to Q4 2026. So this one's been pushed out 2 more quarters. Makes sense. The standard version is not going to come out till quarter 3. This one's going to come out shortly thereafter. Mecha King Ghidorah. Now, Mecha King Ghidorah is one that I keep forgetting is on the way. And when I remember that he's on the way, I was like, oh, yeah, like that thing is going to be massive and awesome. Unfortunately, he's been pushed out a little bit. So he was initially due Q2 of next year, and he's been pushed out to quarter 3 of next year. So not too much, about, between 3 to 6 months. We saw an updated prototype at Singapore Comic-Con. There's going to be a massive figure. There's a lot of intricate details. My shelf can use the break. This is going to be a complete shelf hog. Like, just look how much volume this guy's going to take up. The standard Ghidorah 91 is already a beast. The fact that this one's going to take up even more room. Yeah, I'm in no rush to need to make room for this guy. From there, we're getting into some of the more recent stuff. Behemoth. Behemoth is a funny case because when it was first released, or first solicited, it was Q4 2026, and we were all kind of like, rah, 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 rah. And then they went and updated it to say Q3 2026. It's like, okay, that seems a little bit more reasonable. And unfortunately, in the new pre-order schedule, it has been pushed back to Q4 2026. Like, this guy never had a chance of coming out quarter 3 of 2026. Yeah, not much to say there. Anyway, Scar King. Now, Scar King, very similar deal. Q3 2026 was the initial period. New pre-order schedule, Q4 2026. Again, never stood a chance of coming out in Q3. They've already said actually it's going to take a little bit longer. Then we have finally Monster X and Burning Godzilla 95. These were both slated for Q4 2026, and they remain as so. So nothing has quite pushed into 2027, which is good. We're starting to encroach on supernova territory at that point. But there you have an updated timeline of everything coming from Haya Toys. We are talking about delays that are 1 quarter in length all the way up to 12 calendar months in length. So, I think that the communication is great. I hope that this is a pre-order table that they do end up keeping updated over time. It's nice that they have like a, this is when it was last updated, so we can tell when things are actively being changed or moved around. That's great. Haya, please keep this table updated. Also, maybe like work on getting some of the stuff out the door before you solicit new stuff. Like, that's just my opinion. You have 18 outstanding figures. I think it'd be really great if you could get some of that stuff out the door. So that's going to be it for me. I'll put a link to this new pre-order schedule in the description if you want to check it out yourself, if you want to sift through all the information that's there. And yeah, let me know what you think. What do you think about these delays? You know, the people that say, I'll wait for the Haya, you've got your work cut out for you, my friend. But that's going to be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.